My friends, as Joel S. Goldsmith would often address you, seekers of truth, you have been walking through this life with a quiet, persistent whisper in your soul, a feeling that you were meant for more, that you were set apart, and you were right, but not in the way the ego wishes to believe. You have been chosen, not for glory, but for a responsibility, chosen by the very fabric of existence to participate in a miracle that is already in motion. This is not a sermon of comfort. This is a warning before the miracle unfolds, a final, urgent dispatch to awaken the part of you that already knows the cosmos is aligning, a great convergence is at hand, but it has a single non-negotiable requirement. It won't work without you knowing, without you consciously, deliberately taking your place in the divine circuitry. The miracle is waiting for your conscious, active participation. So I leave you with this question, a question that will echo in the silence of your own being long after you leave this place. What is the specific, undeniable truth that you must finally accept to allow this miracle to flow through you? If this message has resonated with the truth inside of you, if you feel the call to step into your role, then let that be known. Let it be a signal. Like the video, to amplify this frequency, comment the number EZ11 on hours below as a symbol of your alignment and your readiness, and subscribe, for the journey into the miracle is just beginning. Indeed, you have been chosen. But to understand this is to strip away the glamour and the egoic fantasy that so often clings to such a notion. This is not a selection for special privileges, for a life of ease and adoration. The world's idea of a chosen one is a crown, a throne, a destiny fulfilled by external validation. The spiritual reality is something far more profound and far more demanding. It is a divine summons, a calling issued from the very core of life itself. It is the universe God, the infinite principle, whatever name you give to the source, extending an invitation to a specific soul to become a conscious point of focus for its expression. This summons is not arbitrary. It is not a random lottery. It is a response to a readiness, a capacity that has been cultivated often without your conscious knowledge. Think of the challenges you have endured, the periods of profound isolation, the moments of heartbreak that cracked you open, and the inexplicable moments of grace that reassembled you. These were not random sufferings. They were the calibrations. They were the process of hollowing out the instrument so that it could hold a greater resonance. The divine summons is that moment when the instrument is finally tuned and the musician, the infinite, reaches for it to play a new song. This is why it feels like both a homecoming and a terrifying responsibility. The soul recognizes the call instantly. It is a memory encoded in its very essence. It is the reason you feel different, why you have always felt a sense of being from somewhere else, why the mundane pursuits of the world could never fully satisfy you. You were being prepared to hear this. Yet the human self, the personality, trembles. It feels the weight, the awesome burden of what is being asked. It wants to retreat, to hide, to pretend it did not hear the call. But the call, once truly heard, is irrevocable. It echoes in the silence of your meditation. It flashes in your dreams. It speaks through the synchronicities that now punctuate your daily life. This summons is the activation of a latent contract your soul signed before you took this form. It is the awakening to your true function within the whole. You are being summoned not to rule, but to serve. Not to be served, but to become a vessel, a conduit, a clear channel through which a higher voltage of divine energy can flow into the world. This energy is the miracle. It is the force of healing, of revelation, of transformation. But it requires a point of entry. It requires a conscious, willing human agent to ground it, to give it form, to translate its pure potential into the tangible world of effect. So when we speak of being the chosen one, we are speaking of this sacred and solemn responsibility. It is the end of the life you thought you were living for yourself and the beginning of the life that is lived through you for a purpose that transcends your personal story. The miracle is waiting, poised at the threshold, but it cannot crash into your reality uninvited. It awaits your conscious, deliberate, and wholehearted response to the summons that has already been delivered. And so, having heard the summons, we arrive at the great and non-negotiable precondition. The miracle, in all its boundless power, is not a passive event that will happen to you while you remain asleep. It is a collaborative act of creation, and its single most critical requirement is that you must know, with a certainty that transcends intellectual understanding and becomes a living truth in your bones, the reality of your own divine nature and your role in this unfolding. The circuitry of grace is complete only when the individual node becomes self-aware. The power can only flow through a conduit that knows it is a conduit. This knowing is the key that turns the lock. Without it, the miracle remains a theoretical concept, a beautiful story told to others, but never a lived experience. Think of it as a radio signal broadcasting constantly on a specific frequency, a frequency of love, of unity, of limitless potential. You can be in the same room as this signal. You can even believe in its existence. But until you consciously tune your own internal receiver to that exact frequency, you will hear nothing but static. The act of knowing is the act of tuning your entire being, your mind, your heart, your will, into alignment with the broadcast of the miracle. It is the active calibration of your soul. This is why intellectual assent is not enough. You can read every spiritual text, quote every master, and philosophize about the nature of God and still be utterly disconnected from the transformative current. This knowing is a state of being. It is a fundamental reorientation of your identity from the egoic self, which sees itself as separate and limited, to the Christ self, which knows itself as an indivisible aspect of the infinite. It is the shift from believing you are a drop in the ocean to knowing experientially that you are the entire ocean in a drop. This knowing dissolves the illusion of the separate, striving self and reveals the truth of your eternal, interconnected existence. This precondition exists because God, or the infinite, does not force itself upon its creation. It operates through the principles of love and free will. Love always invites, it never invades. Your conscious knowing is your yes to the invitation. It is the permission slip you sign to allow the divine to work through you. Without this active, conscious participation, the divine remains a potential, a promise just beyond your grasp. Your knowing is the bridge that allows the potential to become actual. It is the sacred yes that completes the circuit and allows the current of the miracle to flow into the world of form, healing, restoring, and illuminating everything it touches. This is the warning and the promise. The warning is that you can stand at the very threshold of a new reality with all its glory and grace and remain outside because you have not undertaken the inner work of knowing. The promise is that the moment you do, the moment you surrender your limited identity and claim your true nature as a vessel for the infinite, the entire universe conspires to support you. The miracle is not waiting for a specific date on a calendar or an external sign. It is waiting for you. It is waiting for the unshakable internal conviction that you are what you have been seeking, and that in your knowing, the impossible becomes not only possible, but inevitable. And this brings us to the most practical, the most grounding truth of this entire divine arrangement. You are the circuit. The miracle is not a distant event, a celestial spectacle you are meant to witness. It is a current of infinite intelligence and creative power that seeks to earth itself to become manifest, and your consciousness, your physical being, your awakened heart are the designated conduit. You are the point of connection where the unmanifest becomes manifest, where spirit becomes form. The entire apparatus is useless. The power remains latent if the circuit is broken, if the connection within you is not made conscious and complete. To understand this is to realize the profound responsibility and the equally profound privilege of your existence. You are not a passive recipient waiting for grace to fall upon you like rain. You are an active, integral, and essential component in the divine technology, the power that orchestrates galaxies, that breathes life into a seedling, that spins the electrons in an atom. That very same power is seeking to express itself in a new, unique, and personal way through you. Your life, with all its particular experiences, its unique wounds, and its specific gifts, is the individualized circuitry designed for a one-of-a-kind expression of the whole. There is no other component like you. If you fail to complete the connection, that particular expression is lost forever. This is why the inner work is not a self-indulgent hobby. It is the essential maintenance of the most critical spiritual infrastructure. When you quiet your mind in meditation, you are not just seeking personal peace, you are polishing the contacts, ensuring a clear, undistorted signal. When you confront your fear and your anger, you are not just engaging in self-help, you are stripping away the insulation that grounds the current and prevents it from flowing. When you choose love over judgment, compassion over resentment, you are not just being a good person. You are switching the circuit from a closed, resistant state to an open, conductive one. Every thought, every emotion, every choice is either a switch that opens the flow or a resistor that diminishes it. To see yourself as the circuit is to end the spiritual seeking outside of yourself. You are no longer looking for a savior in the sky, a teacher on a mountain, or a secret in a text. You turn your attention inward to the sacred architecture of your own being. You begin to tend to this inner sanctum with the reverence it deserves. You ask not, when will the miracle come? But where is the resistance in me? Where am I broken? Where am I not allowing the full voltage of my true nature to flow? Your life becomes a living workshop where you are both the technician and the temple, constantly refining your capacity to carry a greater and greater charge. This is the end of spiritual procrastination. You cannot wait for someone else to fix your connection. No master can meditate for you. No divine intervention can bypass your own free will to open the circuit. The responsibility rests here, in this heart, in this mind, in this body. The power is present, limitless, and ever available. It is humming all around you, and within you, a constant, potent potential. The only question that remains is whether you will consciously, deliberately, and courageously choose to close the circuit to become the clear, open, and willing channel you were designed to be, allowing the miracle to flow into this world through the unique and irreplaceable vessel of you. And this understanding of ourselves as the essential circuit reveals why there is such an urgency to this awakening. This is not a gentle invitation to a future, more convenient time. It is a pressing and immediate call to consciousness. The metaphor of a circuit is not passive. It implies a system, a network, a functioning whole that you are a part of. And right now, the entire system is under a kind of strain, a cosmic pressure demanding that every component, every node, every individual circuit come online, the build-up of spiritual potential has reached a crescendo, and the necessity for grounded, conscious conduits has never been greater. This is the warning before the miracle, a final alert to the fact that the system cannot stabilize. The new reality cannot fully birth itself without you. This urgency is felt in the very fabric of our world. It is in the accelerating pace of change, the collapse of old structures that no longer serve life, the palpable sense of both chaos and possibility that permeates the air. These are not signs of an ending alone. They are the birth pangs of the miracle itself. But a birth requires a clear passage. It requires the mother to push. In this grand metaphor, you are both the mother and the midwife. The push is your conscious awakening. The inertia of the old world, the weight of collective fear and forgetfulness creates a tremendous resistance. Your individual awakening is an act of immense spiritual force that helps to overcome this inertia, creating a pathway for the new consciousness to emerge. To delay this awakening is to misunderstand the interconnected nature of the whole. Your circuit does not exist in isolation. You are wired into a vast living network of other souls of the planet itself, of the collective human journey. Your failure to come online doesn't just affect you, it creates a point of resistance, a dimming of the light for the entire network. Conversely, your conscious alignment sends a surge of clarity and power through the entire system, making it easier for the next person and the next to find their own switch. We are at a critical mass, a tipping point, and your personal decision to awaken is a contribution to that collective threshold. This is why the tone is one of urgent warning, not passive comfort. It is the kind of urgency a doctor would use to tell a patient that the time for lifestyle changes is over and a critical life-saving procedure is now required. The procedure is the conscious death of the egoic self and the birth of the Christed self. There is no more time to dabble, to sit on the fence, to engage in spirituality as a pleasant pastime. The cosmic pressure is real. The miracle is actively seeking manifestation, and it is pressing against the limitations of our individual and collective consciousness. This pressure is what you experience as your deepest inner turmoil, your divine discontent, your restlessness. It is the miracle itself knocking on the door of your being, and its knock is growing louder, more insistent, because the time for the door to be opened is now. This leads us to the ultimate nature of what is unfolding. This is a participatory miracle. It is not a spectacle to be observed, but a reality to be co-created. The divine provides the potential, the energy, the blueprint. But the actualization, the bringing of it into the tangible world of form, requires a human partner. It requires your hands, your voice, your heart, and your conscious intention. God may will the healing of the world, but it is through human vessels that that healing energy flows to touch a wound. The infinite may conceive of a new paradigm of love, but it is through our individual choices to forgive, to compassion, to serve, that this paradigm is built brick by brick in the world of time and space. To believe otherwise is to remain in a state of spiritual infancy, waiting for a parent to fix everything. The mature spiritual understanding is that we have been granted the awesome dignity of becoming co-creators with the source. The miracle is not something that happens to a passive humanity. It is something that happens through an awakened humanity. You are the hands and feet of the divine. You are the sensory apparatus through which God experiences its own creation. And now, in this critical juncture, you are being called upon to be the creative partner in the greatest shift in human consciousness we have ever known. Your role is not to merely receive grace, but to become an active source of it for the world. This participatory nature is what makes your specific individual journey so sacred and so vital. The miracle that wishes to express itself through you is unique. It is filtered through the lens of your life experiences, your talents, your personal history of both joy and pain. The love that you are capable of expressing has a quality that no one else can replicate. The healing that can flow through your hands carries a specific frequency meant for a certain segment of creation that only you can reach. When you withhold your participation, you are not just stalling your own growth. You are depriving the whole of the unique gift that only you can bring. The puzzle of the new reality is missing a piece. Your piece? This is the end of the prayer that asks and the beginning of the prayer that affirms and acts. You are no longer pleading with a distant God to send down a miracle. You are standing in your authority as a divine human, acknowledging the power within you and consciously directing it into the world. You become a source. You become a generator of the very light you once sought. Your meditation is no longer just for your own peace. It is a powerful act of radiating that peace into the collective field. Your forgiveness is not just for your own freedom. It is a surgical strike against the collective energy of resentment. Every loving thought you hold, every compassionate action you take is a direct participatory act in the manifestation of the miracle. You are not waiting for the world to change. You are the process by which the world is changed. And so we arrive at the final practical step, your conscious alignment. This is the active moment by moment choice to live as the circuit you now know yourself to be. It is the deliberate orientation of your entire being, your thoughts, your focus, your emotional energy toward the frequency of the miracle. Understanding is not enough. The circuit must be actively switched on and kept clear. This alignment is not a one-time event, but a continuous living practice. It is the decision to no longer live as a separate self navigating a chaotic world, but to live as a conscious agent of the divine, perpetually tuning your instrument to the chord of the new reality. This alignment happens in the mundane, in the daily choices that form the fabric of your life. It is the conscious pivot from fear to trust when a problem arises. It is the deliberate choice to see the divine spark in a stranger, even when your conditioning urges judgment. It is the act of pausing before you speak to ask if your words will build up or tear down the new world you are helping to manifest. Every moment presents a fork in the road. One path leads back into the old reactive egoic programming. The other is the path of conscious alignment, where you choose the thought, the word, the action that most closely resonates with the truth of your divine nature and the reality of the miracle you are co-creating. This requires a new kind of discipline, one rooted not in austerity, but in love and reverence for the process. It is the discipline of guarding your attention for what you focus on, you energize and bring into your experience. To align consciously is to withdraw your energy from the dramas of the old world, the fear, the outrage, the separation, and to invest it instead in the emerging patterns of unity, solutions, and compassion. It is to curate your inner world as sacred space, knowing that your internal state is the primary determinant of the quality of energy you are able to conduct. Your inner peace becomes a powerful antenna broadcasting the signal of the miracle into the collective field. This alignment is also a surrender. It is the release of the arrogant belief that you, as the separate personality, know what is best or how this miracle should look. Conscious alignment means setting your intention toward the highest good and then surrendering the specific outcomes to a wisdom greater than your own. You become a clear lens, allowing the light to pass through you without the ego's distortion trying to paint its own picture on the beam. You trust that by simply maintaining the clarity and the openness of your channel, the intelligence of the universe will use you in the most perfect and efficient way possible, often in manners your logical mind could never have conceived. This is the final piece. The summons has been heard. The precondition of knowing has been accepted. You understand you are the circuit, you feel the urgency, and you embrace your participatory role. Now, it all culminates in this sustained, conscious alignment. The miracle is not a distant destination, but a quality of energy that is available now in this very breath. It flows where the resistance is lowest, where the channel is clearest, where the being is most perfectly aligned with its source. The entire cosmos is leaning into this moment, waiting for you to make the final internal adjustment to bring your unique vibration into perfect harmony with the whole, so that the symphony can begin in earnest.